Back in 1969, a small upcoming amusement park, Knott's Berry Farm, decided to add a log flume named the Timber Mountain Log Ride. To compete with them, a fictitious amusement park named Bridgeport along the coast of Southern California decided to build their own. Unfortunately, everything has their cheap knockoff, and that is exactly what they built. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this park, or comment any name suggestions for the rides. Hello, and welcome back to Bridgeport episode 3. In the last video, we finished up the boardwalk and basically just everything having to do with the water and this whole back end. And in this video, as you can tell by the title, thumbnail, and intro, we're building that was not as cool as I thought, but we're building a log flume. So on this first update, I didn't start too much work. I had this layout done already to begin with in the last episode. This layout really isn't the best, but it's supposed to be a cheap copy. It's supposed to not be good, but I want the theming to be really good. So, yeah. In this first update, we have the layout, and then we have the little splash pad with some theming here. The idea, which is later developed in the later updates, is that this water wheel is what makes this log flume work. And I'll get into that once the main station building is here. But all we have really is just this little cattle pen that goes into another cattle pen. And then you have this little just splash area. There's obviously going to be some water that splashes onto the path. So there's going to be a little like splash zone here. I think I saw that in Nerd Chacho's video way back. I think Chacho Landia, he had a Incident Blitz that had a splash zone. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, unfortunately water doesn't decide to work here, so we had to use these fake water jets that it sort of could look like water. It's obviously some very rough water, but it's just something we're gonna have to deal with. I wanted it to be important that from basically over here, as you're walking from this main entrance area in, the log flume kind of just reveals itself. So you have, first of all, this building here that blocks it, and then there's a big station building that basically blocks it all, and you don't see the actual drop until you get over here. And I feel like it kind of just naturally reveals itself, which I thought was really cool. I also added this little bridge, don't know why, but I just thought it deserved like a little detail here. And yeah, I'm really trying to go for like such a classic Western theme, because it is trying to copy what Knott's did, and obviously they saw the success that Knott's had. And in the lore of this park, this would have been probably one of the first big rides here. This would have been the old entrance. Sure, they would have had this little diner here or whatever, but then it naturally just goes off to this big log ride. And yeah, pretty sure this was all laid out here, but obviously I have some more concrete blocking, some more blocking here. Briefly touched over this in the last episode, but you can go over into these buildings, but this would just be a facade for here, because this whole part, I'm kind of thinking this place is set in California, makes sense that an In-N-Out is somewhere in this park. So I'm kind of thinking this was going to be an In-N-Out. It's a very unconventional looking In-N-Out. In-N-Outs usually are just very white, very big white concrete buildings, but they look cool. And in that case, we would need a palm tree out front, because every In-N-Out has a palm tree in the front, or 2 palm trees actually. I think it's 2, something, 1 or 2 palm trees at the front. So yeah, not really much to talk about. Obviously, it's a very short layout. And oh, one other thing is, if you want to make your log flumes more realistic, every curve goes down, but every straight section is leveled out. So as you can see, this first curve, it is going down at like a 2-degree angle. Oh shoot, whoa, bad cameras. So it goes down at a 2-degree angle, and then straightens out. Another 2-degree angle, straightens out 2 degrees. And this is basically just gonna regulate water flow. But yeah, that's really all for this update. It's really short, really nothing to talk about, nothing notable. Just the start. Alright, so in this next update, you can see that there's quite the change now. First of all, we have the station building, and we have basically this whole area sort of finished, like everything from the station building out. Obviously not all vegetated. I don't know if that's the right word. Garden, don't know. But yeah, we do have the queue building in, and I could probably explain kind of what the lore or what the story behind this would be. Is that this water pump will pump out water. It'll flow down in this little, I don't know what it's called. I've seen it in Dollywood. Never been in Dollywood, but I've seen it in vlogs and it looked cool. So I wanted to add it. So it goes down here, goes here into this water wheel, which then inside, as you can see, has this whole big spinning mechanism. So in the state that it's at the end, I'm not really too happy with it, but I kind of just wanted to be done with it. It was like good enough to where the park guests wouldn't really realize what this all is anyways, and it's just gonna look like theming to them. But the idea is that this water wheel will spin this wheel this way, which then as you can see, it connects here, up here, and then it'll go into here, which spins these gears, and then it kind of just stops here. But realistically, there would be some way for this spinning gear to eventually start spinning this little belt here, and that's why I added this building right here, just to make it look like, I don't know, maybe something's helping with the spinning here. Additionally, I started these facades, which looks kind of bad, and it is not the final facades, but I just thought it was interesting to show how much stuff changes. And I really don't like these facades, because from even like back here, you can start seeing stuff poking out, like especially from here, you can see this whole wooden thing poking out, and I wanted to be very like important that these two things are separated. Even though they share the same building, this is a different theme than this theme. So I really wanted to make sure that was really pushed in this building. Also, inside, it's looking, I think, more full now. This big station building really adds so much more character to this, to the log flume. This building was based off of just the traditional Western mills. I looked up just inspiration pictures. A lot of them have this stone bottom. And yeah, I wanted to have some sort of log here as well, because usually these water wheels, I'm pretty sure, are used for cutting wood. Because of the spinning, it could easily have like a little like saw attached to it. So I did want to add wood somewhere here, so I added just this big log with rope, and I feel like it does look very, I wanted it to look very like cramped in here. I wanted it to look very full. In real life, all of these gears would be spinning, and you'd hear these like gear spinning sounds, but unfortunately, I'm pretty sure only this wheel actually spins, and obviously this little belt system won't move. So kind of, you got to use your imagination when you're in here, but you can just imagine like the gears like make this big click clacking sound and hearing all this commotion up here. It also does make sense that there is a log here, because this is a log ride. Log rides were used in lumber companies when they would be chopping down wood, and then the log would be sent on a river, and then the river would just naturally bring it throughout the I guess the town or the whatever. But in this case, it would be used for the fun of the locals. So they use one of their water wheels as a way to propel this up, and then it'll naturally fall all the way down. Also, I did build this little support system, and I do have these supports. I guess I'll go over this real quickly, and then I go on the drop support. These supports are very simple. Just wanted to make it look wooded. I was experimenting with these supports, but I just didn't like the look of them, and I didn't think that they looked right. So I instead opted out for these wooden supports, and I thought it looked way better. And this drop wooden support is inspired by the river rapids at Disneyland. Don't know what it's called. Not Disneyland. Disney's California Adventure. It has a big it has a lot of wooden structures holding up the river rapids. So yeah, I thought it would be cool to just take some inspiration there. I shot myself in the foot so hard by making this on a slight angle, which then in turn made weird stuff like this happen, where there's random clipping and horrible clipping. Everything. I'm a big person that I like using angle snap whenever I can. I hate not using angle snap, so like I didn't use angle snap on all this stuff, which means it's not like perfectly symmetrical and all that. I don't think it really pays off in the end to have it at a slight angle, but I guess it's a cool little touch. And yeah, that is basically all. You obviously have these cactuses here just to further emphasize the western theme, and then we added this catwalk all around this side that eventually, oh, and there's also this catwalk here that eventually leads back into the station. That is basically all in this save, and we will go to the next. So we are now in the next save, which basically I worked a lot on these western buildings. Whenever I start a new theme, it takes me some time to get into the groove of things. So this is really all that happened in this next save. But I used a lot of inspiration from Knott's Berry Farm because they have such an amazing ghost town. And yeah, so to begin, the idea is that when you're exiting this ride, this log flume, you'll see this big gift shop right here with the ride photos inside. So you'll kind of, you know, race over here, haha, look at the ride photo or whatever, and then come out. But then also forces you into this gift shop. That just has to happen because there is literally no space. I could put the ride photos right here, but then that would completely clog up this exit. So I felt like the best idea was to just move the ride photos over here, and it kind of provides like a really nice looking building. Next, we have a candy store. With some of these western buildings, I wanted it to look very basic to the point that it kind of doesn't look too good. And yeah, so I have this very basic candy store here, which later on you'll see this candy store will connect to this side. So you have kind of a very easy way, like if you want to get to the log flume faster, instead of going around this building, you can just go straight through the candy store, which is at Six Flags Magic Mountain. You can, I'm pretty sure it's a candy store, I haven't been in a while, but I'm pretty sure you can go through that candy store right when you enter and go around that building. But then next we have the Frontier Saloon, and if you're wondering, this is just an extension of the Frontier Saloon, just using a different facade. I decided to name this whole like city or town Frontier City. First of all, in the lore of this park, this log flume came before Splash Mountain, therefore we're not stealing anything Disney. Also, I think it's just a good name because the developers of Planet Coaster are Frontier Development. Yeah. So I think it's just a great name to choose. It gives off western vibes and honors the developers of this game, since this is going to be first and last Planet Coaster park, which is crazy. It's also crazy to think about how far I've gotten in this park. I've never usually get too far in parks that I make, but the fact that I've gotten this far is, it's kind of surreal to me. But anyways, we have the Frontier Saloon. I wanted to really make sure that it shows its age right here with a lot of these dirt decals. Only problem with these dirt decals is it looks horrible if it's in the wrong lighting, like whatsoever. So obviously this looks horrible, but this doesn't look bad, right? So it really is just like, you just gonna have to deal with it. Once again, we have another entrance right here. So when you're walking through here, you have one big entrance right here, and then if you're walking out of this park, you have another entrance right here. This would also be a 2-story restaurant. This would be one of the, it looks to be 3 main restaurants. You have this restaurant right here, you have the fishing restaurant right here, and then you have this diner right here, which is going to be an In-N-Out. So you basically have 2 original restaurants, and then you have an In-N-Out. So that's basically all I've done on these buildings right here. And as you see, we have this little corrugated metal rooftop thingamajiggy that acts as shade. I went to Knott's Berry Farm not too long ago, and in fact, when I'm recording this, I'll be at Knott's tomorrow. And oh my gosh, I was dying in the heat because there wasn't shade in this little part of the log flume queue line that I was in. There's no shade, and I was there for a solid like 5 minutes, and I was sweating. So it was horrible. So I need to definitely start adding shade to some of these other rides. I experimented with adding shade here, but I need to figure out exactly what I want here. Unfortunately, if you're out here, you're not getting any shade because I like having this open idea. I also need to add shade over here, around here. I have this here. This isn't really supposed to be shade. This is just supposed to stop cell phones from flying off. And talking about cell phones, real quickly, this ride would technically be able to operate without having nets right here. I really just was so against adding nets because I thought it would kind of ruin how everything looks. If at Knott's Berry Farm, Silver Bullet goes over the path a lot, and you don't need nets, you don't need any special locker system. You literally can just put your baggage in the little cubby boots, which is in here. So you won't need nets on this ride. It'll be fine. Cell phones hopefully won't fly off. And that was just a quick little side tangent, and this little area is looking so much more full now. And also, if you were paying good enough attention to like the last video, the idea was that this facade, these buildings stacked this way, and then there would be a little kiddie coaster right here, but it just didn't look right with all these supports going through the buildings. It just kind of took away from the nice facades that would be here. And because you just had these supports going through the buildings and in front of it, it just didn't look good. So instead, I decided to change it up a bit, and you'd walk through this maze of supports into the kiddie coaster area, which is definitely going to be a challenge for how small it is, but you know, we'll worry about that in the next episode. And yeah, that is basically all that's in this update, and we'll go into the next update. So now in this next update, it's looking a bit more full with these rocks. The splash zone is now set up, and we have 2 new buildings right here. So first we have this pretty long building. We also added this little planter here just because it looked a bit too open and we needed a planter. And I think it looks pretty nice. You have this nice view of the tree, the Ferris wheel in the background with these western buildings. But yeah, we have these western buildings. First we have the restroom. This would be one of those restrooms where you walk in through this door. Probably be a long corridor, and then you split into these 2 restrooms. They'd be pretty small restrooms, mainly because you have these restrooms right here, so they're not too far away from each other, but they are there. And we also have this general store, which is basically just a gift shop. And now we have this area, which I was really struggling to figure out what I wanted to put here, because it's kind of hard when you can't have doors going in. So this building doesn't really serve a purpose, right? So I decided to make it serve a purpose. We could have this as some sort of stage, or quote unquote stage. There will be a stage at the end over here, but this could work where like there's cowboys or whatever, and they're talking from this balcony as people are entering or people are exiting. And this is going to be a main walkway right here anyways, so there's going to be a lot of guest interaction. This does happen at Knott's, as you can see, lots of inspiration from Knott's here. But also, what could be cool is that the cowboys could go into this Frontier Salon, and this is going to be a restaurant, right? They could like go through the stairs and then come out to this balcony, and then boom, you'll have this interaction between these 2 like yelling at each other, and then you're just a guest looking at these 2 yelling at each other. So yeah, I think that could be a very interesting way to add some more energy to the park and really enhance the theming of this park. I also added this little planter here just to kind of cover up this building right here, and then this fence right here. I do decide to board up this fence. I don't really like the idea of these guests being like watched by these people out here, and I just kind of think it's just kind of weird because you're so close to each other, especially when in this queue line you get really close to them. So I just don't really like that idea. We then also have these little pumps here. I don't know if this is realistic or not, and I simply don't care if it's realistic or not. If it looks realistic, it's realistic in my eyes. But the idea is that these pumps have the water in it that pumps, I think, through this pipe up and all that. And the simple idea is that when the water is splashed here, it'll go into this river, and then there'll be pipes that lead underground and then go straight into into these pumps. Also, if you're wondering what happens if this water splashes out through here, I never added it, but I'll definitely add it in the next. There will be little drains that go along this side, which then can go underground into these pumps over here. And yeah, that is the majority of what happened in this update. I also have this little water coming out. Fortunately, I would love if I could have water spewing all the way down, but that's just not going to be possible in this game because of the water effects that we have at our disposal. But you can just kind of imagine water flowing down here, and we do have this water jetting out. Also, this would be a pretty good time to add that right here would be the sign for the log flume, which we called Frontier Falls. Very basic name, but you know, it'll be cool. And I really want to make this in TMTK if I can, but if I want to make basically every ride sign in this park TMTK, but if I can't, I'm just gonna have to deal with it, and I'll just use the in-game signs or use custom lettering. but I will hopefully be able to have custom ride signs everywhere. Also up here, there'll probably be a Frontier Lumber or something. I never added the sign because I really don't know what I want to put here yet. But yeah, obviously this wall looks really bland, so I want to add something there. And finally, before I forget, you see these little pumps? The idea is that there will be some scenery item here. I never added this in the final one because I really don't know what I should use, and since I'm going to Knott's tomorrow, I'm ripping this off from Knott's, the river rapids there. But they basically have these little pumps where if you pump down, I think maybe like a barrel or something explodes, but then water sprays out, and then boom, you get sprayed with water. So I think that's going to be really cool guest interaction between each other, because you can just pump water at these guests, and it's really fun at Knott's when you do that, because these people are like, oh no, don't do it, but then you just don't care. And yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with how this is looking so far. I really like the idea of the interaction with the guests and the actors here. And yeah, we'll go into the next save. If you're new to the series or haven't really just noticed a trend, the final episode always has me in Tejicam, and we were in Tejicam, which means it's the final episode. So, as we enter the park, you remember the concrete buildings that were there? To the right, they're all gone now. So we expanded the fishing theme over to this area, which I think is really good that the fishing area is right here, which is right next to the western area, because it's a very easy transition, because fishing buildings all use wood, western areas all use wood, and they have kind of the same architecture in the way. It's just over here I decided to bring the fishing vibe down a little bit and sacrifice it just so that it blends better for the western area. I'm not fully happy with this building here. I need to finish it up a bit, but I am happy with this building right here. This will be the main guest services area. Only problem is I don't want to do custom interiors right here, and I really could only make the window be this low because of the roof right here. So you have these really short midgets working in the customer service area, and yeah, we got rid of their ankles. So if you are applying to this amusement park and you want to be working in the customer service area, you better not have ankles. But the idea is that these are main customer service concern, you know, if you just have questions or anything. But if you want to buy Fastlane or anything, you go into this building, and you'll also see how I'm kind of planning the insides of this park. Yeah, it doesn't look too pretty, does it? This park is not going to be an interior focused park. I really can care less. But yeah, the idea is you go in here, and then you can go into this, you'll go into this greener building, which will have some more customer service, because in the entrance of the park this will be a customer service unit anyways. But enough yap about that. Over here will be the lockers. Still need to add some signs everywhere, still need to fix up some of these pillarings, but this is exactly why I make these videos, just so that I can notice these mistakes. But yeah, we'll add the locker. This will be lockers right here. I just added 2 doors here because the more the merrier, and it doesn't really matter. So next we have a gift shop. This gift shop is pretty big. When we go into a top-down view, I can kind of show you how big it is. This gift shop will transition you from the fishing area into the western area. So to begin, this is some more of the gift shop, and we have the candy store. Like I alluded to earlier, this candy store will be able to bring you from this side of the building, and if you go through here, boom, you're over at the log flume. But let's just stay over here for right now. Next we have the Frontier Saloon, not salon, which is already here, but that just kind of gives you a good visualization of where we are. Then we have this little fake building where they can where the actors can go up. Then we have the reveal of the log flume over here. Obviously this is what the whole episode's about, so you've seen a lot of the log flume. Oh, I need to fix the barriers right here, that's a problem. But yeah, I'm experimenting with guests right now, hence why all of the insides do look like this. This is the restaurant, this is some bathroom, because the idea is that the restaurant would have a bathroom inside. But yeah, since I'm experimenting with guests, I added just picnic benches. I know these will probably stay, because look how beautiful that is. You're nice in the shade and the hot sunny day of Southern California, but might remove these ones because they're kind of pointless. So I want to walk through this way because there's a much more progress going around this way than the other way. So to begin, we boarded up these fences right here so you can't really look out, and then we have a supported structure for the lift hill. It was really hard to figure out what I was gonna do with the support structure, so I kind of added this little jut, because if I make it go straight down from here, you're barging into this little kiddie ride. So I had to get kind of creative with just adding this. I don't know if this would actually work, but let's just hope it would. Next, we have just some more shade coverings for this little ride and nice trees, and then boom, you're at this kiddie ride. I decided to line this area with just some western rocks, and then over here is the entrance to the log flume. Like I said, no sign yet, but I'm sure there will be a sign. As you walk back this way, you're back at the water storage, and you have a night. You can walk underneath this little area with the. You can walk underneath this little area where the water is being transported, and you're back over here. And I wanted to make it a thing to where you can see this area. You can see the western area from the queue line of this ride. So if we go back over to the queue line, we can kind of go through the queue. We'll jump some fences, say that our mom is in front, or we have friends in front, and we kind of have the finished idea with all this conveyor belt stuff. Don't really know what they used, but you can see that it actually tracks all the way up there, back down, this way, all around. I try to make it as like complex as possible, just because I wanted as many wheels as I could fit up here. But every wheel is supported or connected to a wall. And I just wanted this to feel very hectic up here and have the actual loading station feel very empty. I definitely want to add some more stuff here because it kind of looks too empty now that I'm looking at it. I added some very simple barrel theming, but I want to fill probably this space up and this space up. And yeah, as we go through this queue line, we have a nice view of the water splash zone, or the splash area. You might actually just get wet here, but you're gonna get wet on this ride anyway, so you kind of just have to deal with it. And yeah, that is basically all I have to show you in Tedgicam. So I guess we'll go into our top-down view, and I can show you some. So to begin, this park is looking so much more full now. And like I said earlier, it's so cool that I'm seeing this much of a park finished, because I've never finished a park before. We added some HVAC units and whatever. This is so unrealistic, I bet, and I'm sure if anyone works in like this like ventilation or whatever in that type of business, they'll say that this is so horrible, but it's fine. It's a game, doesn't really matter. As long as it looks sort of realistic, I don't care. But anyways, you can see how big this gift shop would be. It would be around, it would take up about this much space right here, or it might cut in like this. It'd probably take up this much space because this is where the lockers are. Then you have the candy shop right here, and then you have the Frontier Saloon right here. In the next episode, I really want to try finishing up this area as well and make it look like an actual In-N-Out, but right now we just have a Chief Beef in there. So yeah, I think overall I'm very happy with this episode. I honestly had the most fun making this. I also want to give a big shout out to Corvus. In his Discord, he started a little spotlight thing where every week he'll spotlight a small channel that's making Planet Coaster videos, and I was the first one. So I was honestly not expecting that, but that really meant a lot to me. Now regarding the next episode, it might take some time for me to get the next episode out. Luckily the next episode is going to be pretty chill. We're just building a little kiddie coaster and finishing up these facades right here. I'm starting school next week, and it's going to get pretty hectic, at least for those first 1 to 2 weeks. Bridgeport won't be coming out as frequent because I won't have as much time to spend building in this park, but hopefully the graveyard episodes can come out pretty often, and there will be probably an abundance of those for the next couple weeks, just because they're really easy to make, and they're also really fun because I really enjoy looking at those old parks. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I'll also add a POV of the slog flume at the end, and yeah, that's basically it. Bye.